And hello again. This is a continuation of flights we're doing in X-Plane 11 and FJS is 737-200. This particular flight is going to be short, and as you can see, I've already got the airplane started up. We're taxiing out to runway 28 left at Portland International. Since the last flight video that was recorded, we have flown from Billings, Montana to Spokane, and then here to Portland International. Take a look at the route of flight here shortly. It's going to get out here on the taxiway. Right, this might be a good time as any. We'll be going to the Corvallis VOR. It's only about 20 miles away. ATC wants us to fly that route. And let's see. Then we're going to, going to Newburgh VOR, which is 20 miles away. It's not far at all from here. We'll be flying on a heading of 210 on departure. Of course, Newburgh is 214. I guess somewhat close. We'll get currents to go direct to Newburgh. And then we're going to Corvallis VOR, Victor 448. Down here to the south of us, right there, CVG. And there, get this turn started. And from there, we'll be going to the Roseburg VOR. It's off the chart. And direct to Sammy intersection, which is our first fix on the approach to Medford, ILS runway 14. And that's all in the FMC at this time. We'll be flying GPS direct, even though on the airway with the FMC. And GPS is active mode of flight at this time. Cruising at 50230. So we're going to turn here to the left here to parallel the taxi. 28 left is our runway we're taxiing to, which is right directly ahead of us. We're now on the south side of the terminal concourse at Portland. Portland has two main runways, 28 left, 28 right, which are the predominant runways. Occasionally they'll use the 10s. And then they have one shorter runway that runs north-south. We departed from Charlie 4 parking spot, which is in the Alaska terminal. We are flying Alaska Live Relay. Okay, preparation for departure. Set flaps to 2. Okay, flaps selected. And now set. We review the numbers, which you've already done, calculated. Bring them up again. EPIRs will be 2.15, which is showing in our EPIR window. I'll be setting power initially as pilot flying. First officer not flying will then call speeds 80 knots. And our V speeds here 129 twice for V1 and VR, which is bugged here. And stab trim of 4.47 has been set. We're going to get the flaps up by flaps 1 by 151 and up by 190. Probably be a little earlier than that as far as flaps up. Our gross takeoff weight is 94,000 pounds, a little over 94,000 pounds. And we have about 10,500 pounds of fuel. And it should put us almost 20,000 pounds under gross. So even when our load here, they go here quickly over taxiing. We have 72 souls on board, pretty much mixed throughout the cabin. And you can see we got over about 5,200 pounds of fuel in the wing tanks. Not using the center tank on this trip. With this amount of fuel, we have got a cruise range of about 536 miles. And the weather at the Medford is reporting about a 400-foot ceiling with a mile visibility. I am in kind of a hurry. It's the third flight of the day. Had a couple busts as far as recording earlier, so hopefully this one will come out. So this is a fast taxi for sure, but we're going to slow down here shortly. I'm going to take the active. I'm going to go ahead and go to external view to do that. I'll tell you what, let's go for broke here. Let's see if we can do this. Let's start slowing this airplane down a little bit. It's pretty difficult to do without being able to look continuously. What you have to do is turn the view here, lead the turn, I guess you might say, so you can see. And you want to turn so the center of the aircraft is on the center line of the runway. Takes a bit of practice. I've done it numerous times. So I used to teach for Flight Safety Boeing in Renton, Washington, 747-400. A beautiful aircraft. It's just engineering is just phenomenal. And so I know the turn point's there, but I'm still getting used to the ones here for the 200. Okay, position, hold 28 left, Alaska 738. We need speed in the
approaching 28 left.
We need speed here to make the turn, but don't want to go too fast. So let's see. Let's get the view over this direction. I want to turn. I believe get about almost not quite up the center line, and then it's a pretty sharp turn. But we need to keep our speed down so we don't pull any G's here. Get people unhappy.
On runway 28 left.
Okay. Let's get here a little bit more. Set position and hold. We only need to stop here. We'll get past this threshold. Okay. So to go outside. There's our bird. And old Alaska colors. I don't know offhand when 37200 went in service. I think it's the late 60s, I'm not sure. Alaska flew these airplanes up in Alaska up till the year 2007. And actually that's where I was flying this airplane most of all. But VOR ADF navigation. Okay. Clear for takeoff, runway 28 left, fly heading at 210 on departure, Alaska 738. Okay, let's get the lights on. And strobe lights on. Now, a quick side note here, please bear with me. My Myers parrot has fallen asleep on my right.
On runway 28 left. On runway 28 left.
Yes, thank you. So I'm impeded here with one arm, so I might be a little slow on control as we go, but let's give it a whirl. Okay, it's 4 o'clock straight up. Brakes released. Once again, we'll be adding power. First officer will set it to final setting of 2.15 EPers. I'm not sure what speed. In most turbines, it's gradual at first, but then you increase quicker as you get speed up inside power. Power is set.
80 knots.
First officer calling speed of 80 knots. We'll call V1 and then rotate.
V1, rotate.
Okay, 2 degrees per second is the standard climb rate here, pitch up. Okay, this positive rate, flaps 1, gear up. Let's see, we got a little fast there, flaps 1 speed. Okay, flaps up, gear off, time to take off checklist. Inner marker for the approach going the other way. Let's try to get this thing fairly trimmed up. Okay, now I got a free hand. The gear's going to the off position. The left ending of 210, expect direct Newburgh and 5 mile, classic 738. 5 degrees standard bank rate angle. It used to be, I believe, 30, but now 25, I think, is standard. So on the left turn here, 210. Okay, start to roll on half a degree on your bank angle. Just about now. Down, oops, fast. Enough for government work. Goes up over my eyesight, so we get back down here a little bit. Okay, I'm running external views on a second computer monitor on my Mini-Mac. So I'll lower this view down to the cockpit. Okay, cleared direct. Newburgh, rest route unchanged. Common maintain file 230. That's 738. Okay, to reset the needle here, it won't be far off, but we'll bring the Newburgh down scratch pad back up and give us a new course. About 203 for a new course. So what we're going to do is activate the autopilot here, both air on and elevator control, activate the VOR localizer, which now activates tracking as indicated here, and GPS is green, so it is now tracking via the GPS. And this aircraft flies, climbs per speed, and adjust the power as desired for in descent or climb. Go ahead and climb at 250 knots, so you come over here to this knob here and set it to indicate airspeed, which will now command 250 knots. So it's going to lower the nose here a little bit. Here's the NDC right here. And as we approach 250 knots, we'll then resume a normal climb. And this is adjustable right here with this knob. Okay, so on our way to the Newburgh VOR, then Director 448 to Corvallis, and then Corvallis VOR, and then continuing down to Roseburg VOR, at which point we're going to go direct to Sammy intersection, which is 18 miles out on the approach into Medford. Keep heading up the speed with the continue to keep it aligned with our course in case it's needed. Okay, DME number 2 is reading 19. That's from the Battleground VOR. I'll be setting up conventional nav for the ILS and actually the Medford VOR. It's the Rogue Valley VOR here a little later. So the 2 ways to bring up the FMS in this aircraft is either click on it, actually 3 ways. You click on it, click again, goes away. You can hit the F or Foxtrot key to bring it up here on close view, or FAS has provided a hotkey to it, number 1 key, and that's what we were using to begin with. So let's take a look at our destination airport's currently 183 nautical miles at present speed, ET is 35 minutes. Course is reciprocal here. A direct course to the airport, so that's what 164 would be a direct course to Medford, the airport itself. Okay, I hit line numeral key 1 to get this view hit again, and returns you to the previous view. I say that in all these videos, but I just really love the way what FJS has done implemented. It's really made this a real joy to fly all these shortcuts. Okay, it's probably only 3 miles to Newburgh BOR. We're turning more to the south, Corvallis, and a little further south to Newburgh, and then southeast to get to Sammy. And that's going pretty close to our course on the approach, 143, which is indicated here. Osage is the final approach fix. On OCARs are only approach. That's where timing would start if doing OCARs are only approach. Okay, above flight level 180, I'll set the altimeter to 2992, standard pressure. I like doing this leg. I didn't do it very often, but a couple of times I had a TDY to Portland to do a run to Medford, and eat all the lunches there. And it kind of breaks up the flight to San Francisco. Most of the folks on board are going to San Francisco. It's a short layover we're going to have in Medford. We'll drop off with you and pick up with you. We'll do that probably tomorrow. Tonight we're going to end the flight, or today we're going to end the flight at Medford. Okay, we're up to Mach 0.55 here as indicated on the indicator here. And do not know why this aircraft was not equipped with some sort of ground speed readout. I'm sure it was possible back then, but it's the way it was done. There are ways to convert this. I have a chart that can convert this to ground speed. I'm sure crews flew with that chart, so be up to date on what the actual ground speed is. And with a lot of practice and experience and years, can probably tell us, yeah, we're at this indicated speed, and we're going to be at this certain altitude. Yes, that's going to give us such and such ground speed. Okay, a couple 1,000 to go. Here's our altitude order, telling us we have 1,000 feet, both audio and visual order. It'll come on once again and get 200 feet of our commanded altitude of 23,000. And at that time, about 2,000, or 200 feet prior to 100 feet, the mode will switch, but oh, there it went. The altitude hold has been captured. You see that now confirmed here on the readout annunciator. That was, 13 minutes fine? Something like that. Okay, I'm going to reduce the power, climb power, the cruise power. And there are definitely charts and numbers to tell, but on this airplane, we're about 10 months now, and usually right around 1.85 EFIRS is usually fairly good. We'll see. We're at lower altitude here. That actually might be a little excessive. See what we end up speed-wise. So we have 37 miles to Corvallis. Thinking ahead, initial approach altitude for this approach into Medford, the elevation is 1335. Is Sammy at 18.3 EME miles from the airport, is at 7,000. So we want to go from 23,000 down to 7. Which is what, 16,000 feet, not much, and rule of thumb, multiply that number by 3, and remove the zeros. So let's see, that is about 45 some odd miles. Yeah, it's about 13. 10,000 will be down to 13,000. About 16,000. Good idea. Right, yeah. So I like to round up from that point, so I'm going to say it's 20,000 feet multiplied by 3, so about 60 miles prior to Sammy is when we want to start a descent. So we have about 90 miles, no, more than that to go. That's getting close to the end of the day, so a little slow here. Hopefully we'll make this flight count. So let's go ahead and set up conventional navs while we're train level. You can see now our indicator speeds up to 310 knots, so I thought we'd have lower altitudes here, reduce the power a bit more. Actually, our ground speed is just fine. It's Mach 0.72, and that's right at the bottom end of the cruise range. And we're well below the Barber pulse, so we're actually good. Okay, hitting 3 on the keyboard brings us down to the conventional nav. You can also do this on the FMC, but old habits die hard. And so the Rogue Valley VOR is 113.6, and that's about 2/3 of the way on the approach. Not sure why it was located there. Yeah, it's pretty, almost a beam. In fact, it's just inside Osage, which is our final approach fix, our last fix on this route. So it's about 7 miles from the airport. It's just slightly northeast of the approach course. Okay, and localizer frequency. It's hard to read because it's over the terrain. It's 110.3. That's good. Okay, so we've got the localizer now on the number 1 nav. The misapproach procedure, I believe offhand, is back to the VOR. Yes, it is. We fly outbound on the localizer straight out for 1.6 miles, then it's a heading turn to 350 direct to the 0.60 degree radial off the Rogue Valley VOR. And hopefully won't have to do that. Hitting number 3T again brings us back. Yeah, we're back some more. So the way I've got this route set up, we should be able to go directly to these fixes, and they said Sammy is about 18 miles out, so probably a couple miles north of Sammy we'll activate the localizer and simply start tracking it. And it should be fairly close to the inbound course of 143 at that point. Let's check that. Yeah, of course the Sammy is 140, so after we leave the Roseburg VOR, we'll be pretty much lined up for the approach. 140 takes us to Sammy, and of course for the approach is 143, so it should work out nicely. Let's see. We'll head that up. See how we're doing ET-wise. We're presently 132 miles from the airport, 100 miles. 157 will be our direct course to it. And 18 minutes is our ETE, present speed. So what did we say? We wanted to send about 16,000 feet. If we do 2,000 feet a minute, we'll take about 8 minutes. Okay, there we go to our Roseburg VOR. See what we can see on the map. Eugene VOR is often used on this route, but I decided to try something different this time. So we just crossed Corvallis VOR, Newburgh is down here. And of course the airport goes down south. Alright, we've got a distance, 120 miles to the Rogue Valley VOR, the Medford VOR. The airport is called Medford. They call the VOR Rogue Valley. That is the name of the valley that this airport is located. Very scenic, a lot of terrain surrounding the airport. it's really pretty on a nice day, which we're not going to see a whole lot because we're going to be. Well, let's first get the Indiegogo line here. We check the weather. Okay, so yeah, we got the bases are 17, almost 1,800 feet MSL, so that's about a 500-foot ceiling. Excuse me, and about 1.5 miles visibility, so should break out in time. Make a full stop landing. So we're about 35 miles from Roseburg, give us about 70 miles total to Sammy. Actually, I think that's a little conservative. When we think this, as I said, this is the third flight or fourth flight I've done today. And we think here, so we want to go from 23 down to 7. Yeah, so that's 16,000. So 15 times 3 would be 45 miles out. Or 20 would be 60 miles out. So that's actually a little bit on the conservative side. But I do like to be ahead of the game. I also have to be cognizant of the terrain because, as I said, the Rogue Valley is just surrounded by hills and mountains. Looking at the coach plate, we've got one peak at 5,500 feet, a couple of miles to the west of the coach course. Let's see, 4,600 feet to the east of the coach course, and as close as we get to the airport, terrain is anywhere between about 2,000 and 4,000. So that's the young numbers. So we'll probably start descent down. About 15 miles from Roseburg. No, make that more like 20,000 feet a minute. And we can always add speed brakes. The other thing you need to consider on this aircraft is, once again, it descends at a given airspeed. We've got 250 knots set right here. And they're currently indicating 293, so you have to take into account that reducing the power will take a little bit of time for the aircraft to slow down. You don't always have the option to add speed brakes, but once again, climbs and descents are made for airspeed. So I can go over here. That's of course all using the autopilot. You do whatever you like to do if you're flying manually. So the steps will be to set this first to indicate airspeed. The altitude hold button will then turn to amber color, indicating that's a new altitude to be selected, and it will then capture the altitude. It'll go green again. Next step is to just reduce the power. When we get down to that speed, what will happen is the closer we get to 250 knots, the more descent rate will be indicated, and at 250 knots we should end up about 2,000 feet a minute descent rate. Once again, we're flying GPS. So this is our course to the Roseburg VOR. It's 49 miles. And this is our DME to the Rogue Valley VOR. So it's just under 100 miles now to our destination. About 20-25 miles, we're going to go ahead and start on down. So we can see here. So there's Roseburg is up here, our route is up here, Roseburg right here. be able to see yet. It's but yeah, the airport's a little bit southeast of Roseburg, so it's down here somewhere. I'm off the chart. Yeah, it's 4:20 local time, so we should still have fairly good light, but we're getting the clouds, so it's going to be only a mile and a half visibility. Minimums for this approach are a standard 200 and a half. So we have at present 3 times the visibility we need, which is, of course, as you know, the determining factor as far as executing the approach. The cloud height is, it's not that it's irrelevant, but what does count is the visibility. So this is a 200 and a half standard Cat 1 minimums. Let's go with a 400 some odd foot ceiling and then 1.5 miles visibility. Should be successful here on the approach. Okay, 36 miles now to Roseburg. Here again, we'll be tracking direct to Sammy, but we're pretty close continuing on Victor 448, which actually does go through the Rogue Valley VOR. Continue southbound. Another reason I like to, well, 2 reasons I like going to Medford. Number 1, it's about the right size airport. Size-wise, which would be served by 37200 capacity of 90 some odd folks, and of course this has been replaced nowadays with the new regional jets that do the same thing, well, probably a lot more efficiently. But back in the day, this is probably a typical airport that this aircraft served. And 2, I like it because I've been there numerous times, and as I said, eat a lot of lunches there. Standby. Okay, 28 miles now to Roseburg, 72 miles to the Rogue Valley VOR. So about 70 miles right now to Sammy. So I think I'll start descent in about 20 miles from Roseburg. So preparation for that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the altitude window. And go ahead and set 7,000. In fact, I'm going to start getting it set up now because we are going to need to slow down 250 knots. Okay, so that's now been indicated. We're now on the indicate airspeed mode for the autopilot. Also, the home button has sensor light has turned to amber. So what we need to do now is get the power back. Standard descents are made with flight idle. Now at flight idle, and you notice the airspeed is now starting to bleed off. Obviously, descent rate's starting to go. As I said, the closer we get to 250, the greater descent rate will indicate. We should end up about 2,000 feet a minute. And we do have the speed brakes as and if necessary. And I'll admit, I get kind of anxious here, so I like to be down early rather than late. So, of course, is what we want to do. We want to be at our altitude where we're supposed to be. So we'll play this by ear. Okay, it's about 50 miles now to Sammy. 15 miles, 14 now to Newburgh. excuse me, Roseburg. Already did Newburgh. Once again, we're going down to 7,000 on this approach altitude. So that's Sammy, 18 miles out is when we should get glide slope intercept. So what we want to do is be set up and actually tracking the localizer prior to Sammy. Probably around 3 miles, so 3 miles or so prior to Sammy. We'll activate the localizer and standard navigation, which is done with this switch here. Right now we're on GPS. We'll switch this switch down to nav, and that will then activate number one nav back to standard navigation, which is set to the localizer frequency. So when we get to Roseburg, we'll be turning left 140, get to Sammy. It's interesting. As we've been moving here, that course now is 141. Vista and Osage from the Zombie approach course is 144. There's still 7 miles to go to Roseburg. Okay, come up on flight 180, I'm going to go ahead and set local pressure. Altimeter setting 3009. So about 11,000 feet. Coming up on 10,000 feet to go in the descent. 2 miles from Roseburg. There's our turn, 37 miles to Sammy. Let's set, actually, I'll go ahead and set the inbound course, 143 and heading bug. And we actually do an approach with a greater intercept angle. This gives us a little orientation on how much intercept we're taking. In this case, it's going to be pretty minimal. So 2,000 feet a minute, we have 10,000 feet, so that's going to take 5 minutes to get down to 7,000. Doing Mach 0.50 or 52 thereabouts. That's about, 6 miles a minute. And we have 33 miles, so that's going to work out fairly close. It'll work out okay. Might dump a little bit of speed brakes here. Spoilers. Well, not quite 2,000 feet a minute. So once again, we're going to go ahead and switch over to the localizer, get it active. 3 or 4 miles from Sammy. And what will happen here is then the DME2 off the localizer will show here. This course will change to 143, and we'll get the guide slope indicator, of course, on this side of the HSI. 27 miles or 26, so over 20 miles from here, we'll go to activate the localizer. We're down to Mach 0.49. We're at 250 knots, so we're in compliance with the speed limit. That speed below 10,000. So just creep again here, you can see. Casually coming. Taking up on 6,000 feet, going to descent, 22 miles out from Sammy. The 22 plus 18, so we're about 40 miles from the airport. So what will happen here is, a quick note here, I don't have the best flight controls for manual flight. I do a Thrustmaster integral throttle and joystick. It works fine. I like it. It's not a top end, it's not a low end, it's kind of in the middle, but it's off to my left. So it's pretty tough to do both throttle and yoke at the same time. The throttle's to the left of the joystick. That's just the way it was. And I could not find a joystick throttle combination that had the yoke built in on the right hand side. So it does not sit in front of me, it's to the left of me on the lower table here. So I'll be doing this approach on autopilot here pretty much predominantly until maybe 2-3 mile final. In fact, let's just pick our numbers here. VREF should be 120 something. Okay, VREF is 125. So I like VREF plus 20 or so down to 200 or 300 feet AGL, at which case I'll start reducing power and disconnect autopilot at that time. Okay, our descent rate's down to 1,500 feet a minute. It's 14 miles to Sammy. We have a little over 3,000 feet still to descend. Up the chart, and that's what we're doing here. You can see now we're just about almost straight in. It's kind of nice. Of course, this probably won't happen with traffic, but I'm not going to worry about traffic today. So there's our approach course 143 inbound. This is, see, we're pretty much right on Victor 448 to Sammy, which is an inbound fix, I believe, offhand. So looking good. So what's going to happen here is that 7,000 will level up, obviously, and start configuring the aircraft for approach and landing, adding flaps and so forth. But once we make the switch over to the localizer, it should actually start tracking localizer directly, because we already have localizer armed, and it'll simply go, this will then extinguish, I'll stay on localizer tracking. We'll see how this works out. Okay, Sammy air above 7,000, cleared ILS runway 14 approach, Alaska 738. Bay tower at Osage, Alaska 738. Taking up on 1,000 to go. Altitude alerter. So we need to be ready with power here. Another 500 feet or so. 6 miles to Sammy. So things will happen fairly quickly here. What I want to do is get altitude first before switching. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, maybe it's going to be pretty close. So like I say, 3 miles. 21 mile range on the localizer. Okay, there's 7,000. Power. I do want to slow down, so I'm going to activate localizer now. There we are. There's our localizer glide slopes alive. So what I need to do is activate full approach. Now glide slope has been armed. We are tracking localizer as indicated by the light. Altitude hold is set until we start descent. Glide slope is armed, so as soon as we intercept glide slope, which is pretty quick here, this will turn green and this light will go out. Okay, 19 miles out. And, okay, glide slope's now been intercepted. I'm going to reduce power. I'm sure I already has some flaps out. That's my bad. Okay, going to set flaps 5 for now. Okay, 1,500 feet is our decision height, 1503. on. That's it. That's all it does. 17 miles out. And let's see. Probably around 210 would be a good speed down. Let's go flaps 10. Okay, flaps 10 selected. Now set. So let's just recheck the, I think speed ref was 125, I believe. Yeah, speed was 125. So looking for around 140, 145 as we approach 2, 3, and 400 feet AGL. And the first thing I'll be doing is reducing the power, start slowing down the VREF, and then I'll disconnect autopilot for the landing. Okay, we're continuing to slow. 13 miles out, it's fine. 190, let's go and hold 190 for now. This would be really typical airport like LAX. Usually 190 to a 5-mile final is pretty typical, but this airport not that crucial. So let's go ahead and slow to 170. Let's go flaps 15. Flaps requested and set to 15. Now set. 11 miles out. Our speed of 170. Actually need a little bit more power because we're going to be adding 2 more notches of flaps to 25 and then 30. 30 will be our final flap setting. Can go as high as 40. Most profiles I've seen, 30 degrees is good. And then we'll slow here. 8 miles out, let's go flaps 25. Flaps selected, now set to 25. We'll reduce our speed to 150. I think it's pretty standard. 8 miles out. Okay, radar altimeter says we're about 1,800 feet AGL. That's just to the right of the altimeter. There's our speed of 150. 7 miles out. We're going to go rear down flaps 30 here shortly. Put more power here. Our speed is going to get slower right now. Okay, 6 following sounds good. Let's go gear down flaps 30 for our landing checklist. So there's the marker. There's Osage. For tower, Alaska 738 with you at the marker. Okay, quarter line, runway 14, winds calm, Alaska 738. Okay, a little slow here, I want VREF plus 20 right now. Okay, for landing checklist, gear showing 3 green, flap set at 30, cross check, no flags, on course, on slope, VREF plus 15. Still about 5 miles out. I'm going to hold this configuration pretty much right down flare. Don't need it faster. 4 miles out. Okay, 1,000 feet AGL. Yeah, this is the way I like it. We ref plus about just under 20.
Approaching 1-4.
Okay, 3 miles out. Should be getting visual here. 100 feet. We're going to hold this configuration right to the flare. Okay, the FO would be actually calling the airport in sight. She just did. So now my eyes go up. There's our runway. Okay, 300 feet AGL, so power is being reduced, so do a VREF speed. All the way back. And, disconnect the autopilot. Okay, there it is, our VREF. There's our touchdown. Going with the reversers on. And if memory serves, reversers need to be off by 60 knots. F70. Reverse thrust discontinued. Brakes applied. Here, release the brakes. I had reversers canceled, now they're canceled. That's why I slowed down a bit more than expected. I'm using a knob on the joystick. I guess I didn't press it hard enough. Okay, I'm single pilot here, so I'm going to do some ATC wants us to hold short anyway, so I'm going to stop right here. I look at Michael's outside to confirm. Okay, you see the spoilers are activated on touchdown. They need to be lowered and flapped up. Get back inside, we need to turn the landing lights off. Excuse me. And don't need a taxi light. Don't need strobes go off. APU needs to be started. Okay, UGT's on the rise. So UGT's APU's on the start. Go back outside. Release the brakes. Slide down to the parking spot. Straight ahead, it looks like. Okay, last airline, last arrival, flight 738, service from Portland. Service to San Francisco. Yahoo! I love flying to San Francisco. Favorite airports. Flew regional lines in that airport up and down California coast, LAX, San Diego, almost a year. Okay, now let's check the time then. Looks like way on that parking spot. So it's blocked by not have auto-gate. So I have to figure that out. So what I like to do, slow down a little bit, I like to do ramping from the March order standpoint, as well working at this airplane. I've got the power here. Scenery from updated all the airports that was highly advertised. This is the result. This is just really nice. A little fast here. Actually, we're okay. I'll go for that first one. brakes set. That brown card's starting. Alright, what we need to do is get back inside here and get the APU generator on before we shut the engines down, so we have power. And engine shutdown is next on the checklist. Go fuel cutoffs. Next, I like to go and set the pressurization to ground, which will allow the cabinet to depressurize so they can open the doors. And it's a matter of shutting everything off, window heat off, static heat off, anti-ice, engine anti-ice off. Working our way down. Left pack stays on for the APU, right pack goes off, APU bleed goes on, pressurization already set to ground, any cooling light goes off. Throttle levers get set to off. Electric hydraulic pumps turned off. Main fuel tank pumps turned off except the left one, which feeds the APU. So that's about it for right now. Complete shutdown will be to turn off yaw damper, here, galley power, and emergency exit lights off, and then turn off the APU, and then shut down completely with turning the battery off. Okay, let's take a quick look outside. And this hard spot's not set up for the gate. Don't have a lot of gates, so I should open some doors here. And if you forget to turn the pressurization switch to ground, these doors will not open. They'll all stay grayed out. Okay, there go our doors and the air stairs. And I'm going to call that quits. That's it for this flight. Thanks for watching as much as you did. Hope we didn't bore you to tears. That was a good flight, good approach. And next flight will be documented. Will probably be from Medford here to San Francisco. Till then, ciao. Thanks so much for watching.